We are in London and Scotland today, where history has been and will continue to unfold. A moving few days there in Scotland, where Robach has been for the past several days. The body of Queen Elizabeth II will arrive in London later today. The Queen will spend one final night at Buckingham Palace. That has been her home for so long, before traveling to Westminster Hall tomorrow, Rose.
Yeah, that's right, TJ. And there, the Queen will lie in state 24 hours a day, allowing the public the opportunity to pay their respects until Monday's state funeral. Joining us now, alongside TJ, is ABC News royal contributor Victoria Murphy. And Victoria, you have been covering the royal family. You've been covering the Queen for so many years. And I'm just curious, as we talk about all the tradition and history being made here, on a personal note, how are you feeling, and what was the news like for you? We've talked about how intellectually we all knew this was inevitable, and yet for so many people who knew her, who loved her, who reported on her, this still kind of came as a shock.
I think you're absolutely right, Amy. I mean, the overwhelming emotion really is shock, because we didn't have a long lead up to this. Just 2 days earlier, we'd seen her bringing in her 15th Prime Minister there, looking smiling in a photograph. But I was here at Buckingham Palace when the news of her death was announced. And what we really saw at that point was people just wanting to be here. People just stuck around. They just wanted to stand outside this building and kind of take in this moment in history. And I think that's something we're going to see come into play even more over the next few days, now that we enter this kind of slightly more contemplative phase, and now that the public has a chance to file past and see her coffin for the last time.
To that point, Victoria, what do you expect to see here in London, and how can London handle what they're about to see, which are, we call them throngs of people, but there might be an influx of people into this city, into the public transit system, trying to get in line to see the Queen like nothing we've ever seen before in London?
I think you're right, and that's a very good point. We've had so many huge events in London, including the Platinum Jubilee just a few months ago, and this could be the biggest yet. I think when the Queen's coffin comes back to Buckingham Palace tonight, that will be very poignant, very symbolic, and I think a lot of people will really want to be here to see that moment. And then her procession to Westminster Hall tomorrow, again, the first time that we've seen her process properly through London, followed by the royal family. I think those queues to get into Westminster Hall are just going to be absolutely phenomenal. 300,000 people came in 1952 to see her father, King George VI, lying in state. That record, I think, is going to be absolutely smashed.
You know, speak of the moment, we've talked about this a little bit. I heard some more speak on it, but the fact that she did pass in Scotland turned out to be somewhat of a blessing, because there was such a special place to her. But everything we've seen there with Robach over the past several days, with people being able to pay their respects, that wouldn't have happened had she passed here.
I know, you're absolutely right, and it's unbelievable, really. We would never have known what we'd missed, but to have that felt like so much more of a complete reflection of her life and reign, because this was a monarch. She was monarch of the United Kingdom, the whole of the United Kingdom, and her reign was characterised by people being able to see her and interact with her. And even in her death, we had that long journey down from Balmoral, where so many people, anybody could have gotten a front row seat to that. She was 6 hours of driving. You could have gone and seen it if you wanted to. And I think that really reflects the monarch that she was.
And Robes, I will come to you on that actual point. You've been there since Friday, and I guess, what have you been seeing? Do people seem to really appreciate the fact that they were getting an opportunity there, that it's some kind of a blessing, in fact, that she was, they hate that she's dead, they hate that she passed, but man, that she did it there, there was something really poignant about that.
You know, TJ, it's funny. I've talked to people who said it almost is as if she intended for this to happen, because this was her beloved Balmoral estate, just a few hours here from Edinburgh, and she loved this country. Her mother was Scottish. She summered here. She has so many memorable moments in her life marked here in Scotland. And so, yes, the Scottish people very much consider her their queen, and they would have missed out on these celebrations of her life and this opportunity to be a part of history and to pay those final respects. And Victoria, it speaks volumes. The lines that we saw last night, I was there outside of St. Giles Cathedral, and they stretched for as much as a mile. People waiting up to 12 hours here in Scotland to pay their respects. I know that you know a lot about that relationship between the Scottish people and Her Majesty.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I mean, Scotland was an incredibly special place to her personally, and she died at Balmoral, which was not a royal residence. This was a personal home, a place that she loved, a place that she spent a lot of time. She also used to holiday around the Western Isles with her family. The whole of Scotland was somewhere that she loved and she visited. Her official residence in Scotland, the Palace of Holyrood House, so fitting that her body was there for a night, and also able to be in St Giles Cathedral as well.
And it's really remarkable. You said, talk about her homes, and everybody around the world really associates the place behind her as her residence, but she was a child when she moved into this place, and she has been here throughout her life, and to think she is going to spend one final night is really, really remarkable. Victoria, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate. We know we're going to see you on the air plenty more, and it's been round the clock for you, so we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you so much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.